Welcome back, my tribe. Simply Legal. Wow, it's really a cold day, but on a cold day, I'd just like to do a recap of how the previous video was. First of all, I did a video on self-defense. I'm so happy about the feedback. On Simply Legal, we try and make things as creative as possible. We try and captivate people, and we like to try new things to explain the law to the best of our ability. However, on the channel today, I am so thrilled and so excited that I'm hosting one of the best, my best people in my life. Let me be honest, I'm hosting someone very simple. I call her Honey Bunny. But who is Honey Bunny? Before the camera is able to show who she is. She's my best friend, she's my long-time lover, she's my everything, she's my friend, my confidence. But at the same time, this being a legal channel, Honey Bunny is also a lawyer like me. She's also counsel. So let me just take a moment to show her beautiful face. And she's also going to tell us at the same time what she's here to talk to us about, because much as I'm hosting Honey Bunny on the show, we're also going to talk about something legal, this being Simply Legal, but at the same time, we are bringing creativity in the most simple way possible. So, Honey Bunny, the show is all yours.
Oh, thank you for that big introduction. I'm Daphine Mushabe by name and a lawyer by profession, as you said. Today I'm the guest in Simply Legal to talk about anything that you guys have requested me to talk about. Yeah, I guess we can carry on.
So on today's topic, the fans are very curious. The tribe. The tribe and the viewers are very eager to know what is Honey Bunny talking to us about today. What is Daphine Mushabe bringing to Simply Legal on this cold occasion?
Today, basically, I'm going to talk about cohabitation as a topic, since it's something that's affecting everyone in the world today, especially in Uganda. It's something that the law has not really provided for, but we are trying to throw more light about what is cohabitation, why do people choose to cohabit, and what are the likely challenges that go in hand with cohabitation. Yeah, basically that.
Okay, so Daphine, much as we want to hear about cohabitation, we were talking about this yesterday and we sent out our picture on social media. So many people were so happy to know that we're hosting on the channel. I noticed in the backlash, many people wanted us to talk about both marriage and cohabitation. But in cohabitation in particular, they wanted us to throw more light about what is cohabitation, is it legal, are there laws about cohabitation? If for example, if me and you are cohabiting, they want to know if we are mass property together, is it legal? Especially women are the ones talking about cohabitation mainly. They want to know about this. They want us to talk about both cohabitation and marriage at the same time, so we could have a good, quick discussion about this. So the people want to know what is the legal definition of cohabitation.
I can't say there's a legal definition for cohabitation, but to define cohabitation generally, cohabitation can be defined as a situation where a man and woman choose to live together as husband and wife. However, personally, I find that definition very ambiguous, or I may say very wide. I think we shall bring it out later, like my take on that. I'll bring it out later.
Just a minute. I'm receiving a text message from one of our close friends saying that they would like us firstly to talk about how me and you met and how we went to law school. But I've decided to talk about that at the end of the video. Or we can mix up the two.
Anything. Ready for anything.
Okay. Now, in my understanding of cohabitation, I know that a man and a woman are living together and they are not legally married, because I want us to look at the definition of marriage. In the case of Hyde versus Hyde, that was in the late 1800s, marriage is the union of both a man and a woman voluntarily, or let me just backphrase it. It's a voluntary union of a man and a woman coming together to live as man and wife, and later on to father and mother children. So cohabitation in itself goes against marriage. It's two people are coming together, man and a woman, but they are not legally tying the knots.
They are not formalizing it as a marriage.
Aha. Now the viewers also want to know, if there are no laws governing cohabitation, then what laws are governing marriage? We can brainstorm them.
The laws that govern marriage says the Marriage Act, there is a Divorce Act, there is the Mohammedan
marriage, which is Islamic marriages.
yeah, and the Constitution, of course, the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Yeah, basically those are it. And also the Divorce Act. Yeah.
So if we look at cohabitation as our legal brain, or simply legal this time, the viewers want to know exactly how, if two people amass property in a cohabitation relationship, how does the law govern that? Is there a bill for cohabitation? Was it discussed? You could throw a little more light on that.
Talk more about that. In 2009, there is the marriage bill that came out. That marriage bill talked about issues in relation to marriage and also cohabitation partly. However, there was a suggestion from one of the people that brought up that bill while it was discussed in Parliament. They proposed that there should be a different bill for cohabitation itself, because cohabitation is a very big topic or a big issue that can be brought up on its own, because it has different things that it's addressing or different challenges that come with it. So when it comes to the question, going back to the question, you said, what happens to a couple
if they amass property? If they get property, let's say they've cohabited for 25 years, now they have property all over Kampala, they have land, of course they have many investments, even concerning their children. What happens?
Actually, that's a very big challenge that's affecting most people that are cohabiting now, because initially when you're in a cohabitation marriage and later on your relationship dissolves, as a woman or as the purported wife to the man who is the husband, you assume that you're going to have a share on what you acquire during your relationship. But the law says that for a woman to acquire partly on what they acquire during their marriage or their relationship of cohabitation, there must have been a marriage in the beginning. But if the fact that they are in cohabitation, which is not recognized in Uganda as a form of marriage, the woman tends to walk away with nothing, due to the fact that there was no marriage. There's nothing she has to prove that there was a marriage. So that makes it a very big challenge that's affecting especially the women, because most women leave such relationships empty-handed. So basically, I think our discussion today should point out that there is a reason as to why cohabitation should be recognized, not as a marriage, but there should be a law put out there that talks about like property rights in scenarios of cohabiting partners when their relationship is over. Yeah, that's how I can answer.
I would also, by the way, initially what the initial questions I was supposed to ask you were that, why do people cohabit? You can even brainstorm them.
Actually, that's a very big question.
I know that number one, people cohabit to test their relationships, because many of you viewers may be wondering why are Terry and Daphne talking about cohabitation. It's a reality in today's world. Much as we like to silence realities, it's there. We need to recognize it. Many viewers are cohabiting. Many people are cohabiting. So they cohabit to test their relationship. to see whether they are a perfect match for each other. And although the law does not cover it, it's more of a gray area in the law. It's one of the reasons why.
Yeah. So I would say that people choose to cohabit for different reasons. Like you said, some choose to cohabit due to the fact that they want to perfect their relationship prior to the marriage. But to add on to that, other people choose to cohabit due to financial constraints. Maybe they cannot afford a life on their own, and their partner could put them in a better place than, or even cut costs. If I and Terry choose to stay together, if I was spending like 15,000 a day, if I stay with him, maybe if he was also spending like 15,000 a day, we can spend 20 instead of 30 in a day. And other people choose cohabit due to, if you have to notice, bride price these days is very high. Marriage has become, it's now like a commercial business of sorts. People fear, especially the men these days, they fear to enter into a formal marriage due to the fact that there's a high price put on bride price. And also, for example, as the Westerners, you have to do like kuhinjira, do kuchala, do a wedding. That's all money. So some men are not bold enough, or they're not ready for all such expenses. So they choose to first cohabit as they plan to make money for those functions. And another one can be poverty.
When another reason why people cohabit that I've noticed is that a lot of people have financial constraints. You find that in most cases, usually in the world, the way it works is that the man usually has more finances than the woman, or sometimes can be vice versa. So you find that in most cases the women move in with the man because they want most of their bills catered for, and the man is able to also welcome them into their own home.
Yeah, and lastly, some other people choose to cohabit for convenience. Like I said, if I have issues with my partner, like I'm not secure, like every time he moves out, I don't know where he is. My heart is always worried. But if I know every day I go back home, I find my man, that's the truth. Like I'm very secure. So some people just choose to cohabit for convenience. Yeah, just to be secure with their partners. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I'm sure one of the viewers is wondering, they're wondering whether me and you should cohabit in the future. Yes, it's a legal channel. It's something that is. Yeah, should we cohabit? Would you want it in the future?
Personally, I wouldn't have, like being honest, I wouldn't have a problem with cohabiting because there's a lot to learn. And like you say, marriage is like a way step, like a very big step that you need to take. But I think before you take that step, you need to know what you're stepping in for. And I believe in cohabitation, you get to know your partner. Like you get to know your partner on a deeper level, and there you can decide to choose either to step in with him or not to step in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, in your view, I'll also give my opinion, but do you think we should have a cohabitation act?
Yeah, I can't say a cohabitation act. Or I can say that there should be a law in relation to cohabitation that talks about property rights in terms of the people that have been cohabiting. Like let's say the cohabitation relationship results, what happens to the property when merged together? What should they do with the property? And also children, when it comes to children, who takes the custody of the children when it comes to a cohabiting situation? Yeah. So basically, I'm not saying that cohabitation should be recognized as a marriage, but there should be laws put in place that talks about property rights, children, like child custody when it comes to when it comes to cohabiting relationship. Yeah.
By the way, it brings me to my next point. In my understanding that I got from law school and at Law Development Center, I noticed that there are different aspects that cohabitation touches. For example, it touches children's rights.
Yes.
It touches land.
Yes.
It touches land law. It touches marriage, of course, and property. But it also looks at things like domicile. If you remember, in our family law, we could give a brief insight in that, because I would want to start with land. From most of the feedback I was getting from social media, especially Twitter, many people have issues with land. They want to know if John has married Mary. Sorry about that. If John and Mary have been cohabiting for, like, let's say 20 years, they have 3 children, they have been living on their land, who does the land belong to?
I think I already addressed that. That was the first question you asked me.
Yes, but I want us to look at it in terms of the Land Act.
In terms of the Land Act.
Because in my understanding, Section 39 and Section 40 address spousal consent. I mean, Section 29, if I'm not mistaken. It's 29, Section 29 and 30 address spousal consent. So when we look at the principle of survivorship, we'll of course have to explain it here, but when we look at survivorship, who takes over?
I think when it comes to matters of land, when you go to buy land, after acquiring the land, whose name appears in the certificate of title? You get? If the name on the certificate of title is Terry, Kahuma, and Daphine Mushabe, those are the owners of the land, right? So if you go ahead, let's say Terry and Daphine are cohabiting, we go ahead and dissolve our cohabiting relationship. Who takes ownership of that land? Then our names are stipulated on the certificate of title. That's evidence enough to prove that we own the land together. You get? So I can claim to have an interest in that land because my name is on the certificate of title. Scenarios are bad whereby we are cohabiting, and when you acquire land as partners, the only name on the certificate of title is only Terry Kahuma. So me as a woman, I will not have any ground to come and claim that I had interest in this land because during that time you acquired the land, I was cohabiting with you, right? If I say yes, I was cohabiting, but our Uganda law does not recognize cohabitation. That's why I was telling. That's why in the beginning I said that there should be a law that talks about property rights when it comes to cohabitation relationships, in case those relationships dissolve. Because a woman may not have contributed financially, but can have contributed in kind. Yeah. Maybe during the time we acquired the land, I was pregnant, has given birth, I was looking after the children, and you're also doing the other things to support the family. Yes.
Okay.
That's how I can address it.
Thank you for elucidating for us. I wanted the viewers to fully understand that because I was getting so many questions about it. Now, one of the final things before we wrap up is about the issue of children. Because me and you are aware, as counsel, we are aware of children laws. We know that all of these are embedded in the Children's Act of Uganda.
Yeah.
When a couple is cohabiting and they're not married and they have given birth to children, let's say the children are about below the ages of 10, 15 years. And finally, Mr. John and Mr. Mary split up. Who is going to take child custody? Because we know that child custody, mainly, when you look at the law looks at it in black and white. They say child custody is in terms of marriage, meaning if the two people are divorced, we look at custody laws. But in cohabitation, who does the child go to? Do they consider the welfare principle? The viewers want to know about this. And I'll also add on.
Exactly. That's also a very good thing. Like we said in the beginning, there is no law that talks about cohabitation in Uganda. So basically, when it also comes to children, who takes up custody of the children, it's also there is case about that. There's no law that talks about it. But initially, in a normal marriage where the marriage is formally recognized, the children always, you have to consider who has the best interest of the children. And that's embedded under Section 3 of the Children's Act. The welfare principle of a child is paramount. They always look at
the
the
emotional
age.
needs.
Yeah. How old is the child? What do they need? Who has the
bigger pocket.
Like who has the capacity to look after the children better? So when it comes to cohabitation, it leaves the gap. Like we don't know who has the right to take up custody of the children. But most cases, the children are always left with the father, due to the fact that the father is a big pocket, has better finances than the woman, which may affect the children, especially the children who are young, and like below the age of 8. It may affect them psychologically because those children still need the attention of the mother. You understand? So, like I said, there is still a need to redress such a law. That talks about child custody in terms of cohabitation.
And I think, in my view, cohabitation, when such, because I know in the near or far future it will happen, laws concerning cohabitation should touch many areas. Children's rights, it should touch land, it should also touch property, a number of laws. So, anything else on cohabitation you want us to... Let me ask one final question.
Yeah.
In your view, if you're a parliamentarian, or because we understand that in parliament, they are the legislators, they're the ones who come up with the bills. Would you advocate for a cohabitation bill?
Yes, I would advocate for a cohabitation bill, but I would not advocate for cohabitation being recognized as a marriage because that would bring a whole big risk when it comes to our church and tradition, because that's like a norm. They call it a norm, like something that's off, right? So I would advocate for cohabitation to be recognized, but not as a formal marriage. I'd advocate for it to be recognized in terms of like when it comes to property rights and child custody. Who takes what and who owns what. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I guess we have exhausted a lot about habitation.
Yes.
And most of the things people have been wanting to know. So, before we wrap up the video, I have a number of requests here. People have been wanting to know a lot about honey bunny.
Yes.
How did this name honey bunny come up, and who are we? Are we friends? Are we lovers? Are we best friends? I know I introduced in the beginning, but people are really curious. They really would like to know about us. So, how did we go through law school? Actually, the major question is, how did we balance our relationship and being at the bar, Law Development Center?
Where do I start from? Because I feel like there's so many.
Maybe I should start.
No, the questions are so many.
Okay, the first question is, how did we meet?
I and Terry met at law school.
Huh?
That was at UCU. Around, I think I used to know him straight away from first year, but I got to know him more beginning with like second year, late semester second year. Yeah, that's how me and him met. We met as friends, and we are still friends.
Okay, for me, let me spill the beans. Wow, where to begin from, honey bunny? When I look at you, I see many things. But let me tell the viewers what they want to know. So, my dear tribe, I met honey bunny, like she said, late 2016. And honestly, we used to be friends, but a thought occurred in my mind, and I said, wow, she's actually very beautiful. She's stunning, she's damn gorgeous. The one vivid memory I remember back in law school was, I doubt when she remembers this very vividly, but I do. It was now second year, and that was the time I used to read so much, but I ignored a paper called World Views. She remembers. So she's a very intelligent person. Honestly, if you're looking to give any counsel work, this man is not advertising at all, but she is someone very, very intelligent, capable, and competent. So she discussed with me worldviews. I went to her and I said, you know what, Daphine, I haven't read anything. I feel like I'm going to fail to I'll get a retake. Daphine said, no, have a seat and I discussed the entire course unit for you in 2 hours. And believe me, I was not the best, but I got I got very, very good grades. So ever since that time, I looked at her and I was always stunned by her.
Created a soft spot.
Not just a soft spot, created a spark. And that spark led into chemistry. I've never believed in love at first sight. I've always believed in developmental chemistry. So one time I looked at her and I said, this girl is so special to me. Oh, sorry, this lady is so special to me.
Thank you for correcting that.
So I looked at her and in my mind I said, you know what? By the time she's this special to me, she deserves a nickname. I looked through my mind and I was like, Honey Bunny. Because she reminded me a lot of bunny. I don't know, whoever is watching this all over the world, if you look at rabbits, they are very cute and adorable animals. I find them adorable. So when I looked at her and she embodied characteristics of a rabbit. They are peaceful, cute, beautiful, adorable. They mind their own business, and that's who she is. So I called her Honey Bunny ever since that time. And when I met her and I said, by the way, I think I should be calling Honey Bunny, she said, kahuma, why calling me Honey Bunny? So that's how we began. But now that I've answered that question, people want to know, how have you been able to balance a boyfriend, a relationship, throughout second year of law school up to we're now done with LC? They want to know. How has it been?
I can't say it has been easy, but because I and Terry have different character traits. However, I find that's like as a very big, I think it's like a very good thing, because where I'm weak he's strong and where he's strong I'm weak. So we try to pull each other to bring the best out of each other. So most times in campus especially, people used to wonder, every time I'm with Terry, we are talking 24/7. We are always talking. So people used to ask me, what are you always guys talking about? So most times we would actually not be talking about that. I think people would think we are talking about love, what? But most times we'll be talking about developmental things like, man, I need to read this, or we need to go and discuss this, like such things. So in a way, we would help each other, like
We basically fit together like a puzzle.
That's so cute. So we would like help each other to bring out the best out of each other. That's why we are always winning, right? Yeah. Even LDC, the same thing. We did the same thing.
Okay, so let me just wrap up by saying this, the final word. If, dear viewers, if you've ever observed a bouquet of flowers, like this bouquet you see here, a bouquet is a mixture of different colors and variations are different. Every flower has its own frequency, it has its own vibration, it has its own color and its own nature. When I see me and Honey Bunny, I see myself as a violet and she's a rose flower. Because when these two are brought together, they make a very wonderful bouquet. So Honey Bunny, I may say, you're the rose to my violet. And the violet to your rose. So I'm glad to have met you. And I like the fact that we are both lawyers. We can have a multitude of things to talk about. And dear viewers, yes, this is simply legal. You've always been used to me breaking down legal issues for you, simplifying for you these things. But this as well is in our day-to-day lives. I try to make these videos as relatable as possible, and I'm glad that I'm able to show my partner proudly on this platform. So thank you so much for listening to me. I'm glad that you liked this cohabitation video. If there's anything you want me to talk about in a future video, please mention it. If there's something you've loved about this video, or if there's issues we have not answered on this particular video, please let me know in the comments. For whoever is new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And whoever has any serious work for any lawyer or counsel, Daphine Mushabe is here. On cohabitation, on law, on anything.
Actually, I think it's about something.
Huh?
If I've already one, but wanted to know what keeps the furnace lively all the time.
Yeah.
The candle is always burning. What's the spark?
You see, in my experience, because me and Daphne have dated for 4 years, this is now our 4th year. What takes you to understand each other is not even the physical beauty. I mean, you have to be attracted to your partner. The attraction has to be there, and the attraction has remained there for a long time. What has kept the fire burning is that we understand each other. We take the time to listen to each other. We take the time to see, my partner is not happy. Even just without me saying anything, Daphne can understand that there's something bothering Terry. Or even just by me looking at her mood can change. So I think it's about getting to know who your partner is, understanding, taking time to listening and understanding who is Daphne. Have I gotten to know her in depth? It's not just about the physical. The physical can always fade away. The time I met and the time we met, our physical appearance has changed, definitely, in a 4-year period. So it's about understanding each other, being happy, and knowing that we are not perfect. We have had our disagreements, because like she said, we are different. We have had our different opinions of something, we have had our fights, to be honest. But I think it's just about loving each other and choosing to love each other every day.
That's very good.
Do you have an opinion, Bani?
Yeah, I can also add something to that. Most people, when they see, like, when they choose to be in a relationship, they have that fantasy relationship in their mind. They think that everything is going to be perfect, like, all the time. But I would like to assure you, you have to keep working to win your partner every day. You have to keep trying to do what makes the other happy, like compromising, loving each other, reminding each other that you love each other. Actually, you have to keep doing that. But some people forget. Tomorrow I'll meet another person who will tell me the same thing. But if you keep telling me that, then I'll keep choosing you, like I keep choosing you every day. Yeah.
Wow. I will forever choose you, my heart. So, thank you so much for listening to us, guys. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.